Welcome inside the CEC TV studios for another edition of Trailblazer Weekly. As always, I'm your host, Eric Segmiller. Today we've got another Trailblazer Weekly Express for you, just football, soccer, and volleyball results, and a look ahead at next week's schedule. Don't worry though, we've got some great feature content coming up for you in the next couple of weeks. So let's get to it. Trailblazer Weekly starts right now. Again, welcome inside this week's edition of Trailblazer Weekly. It was another busy week last week. We've got all the results right here for you in the Trailblazer Rewind segment. We start today's show on the football field. The Trailblazers were the only team that played at home last week, and they also look to extend their two-game win streak to 3 games with the number 20 Colorado Mesa Mavericks in town. We've got all the highlights for you. Let's roll the tape, run it back, and take a look at what happened in the football game. 3rd and 6, first drive of the game, Colorado Mesa with a football, but not for long. Sophomore cornerback Jalen Moore jumping in front of a pass, returning it 42 yards for the pick 6. It would be 6-0 Dixie State. Couldn't ask for a better start. A little bit later in the first, Trailblazers drive. The drive stalls, but A.J. Jurgensen connects on a 22-yard field goal. 9-0 Dixie State. Picture-perfect start. But here come the Mavericks. David Tan, 4-yard run into the end zone, his first of what would be 5 touchdowns. You see later in the quarter, another touchdown. It's 14-9 Colorado Mesa at that point. Later in the second quarter, though, Dixie State would respond, driving down the field. Malik Watson swinging it left to DeJuan Dantzler, the sophomore, dancing around, making guys miss. He gets into the end zone. 2-point conversion would fail. Dixie State would take a 15-14 lead into the halftime break. And what a game it was to that point. Colorado Mesa, though, would use big plays in the second half. David Tan starts right, cuts it back up the middle, somehow bursts through the line, and he is gone for a 67-yard touchdown run. That would give the Mavericks a 21-15 lead at that point. Colorado Mesa would get the ball back a few minutes later, drive back down the field. David Tan again into the end zone from a couple yards out. It's 28-15, looking like the Mavericks might run away with this thing. But hold on, Dixie State would respond one final time. Malik Watson, the quarterback, steps up in the pocket, fires downfield, and finds the redshirt sophomore Casey Allison for a 40-yard touchdown strike. It's 28-22, and it would remain 28-22 for quite some time after that. Dixie State would have the ball a number of times, but just would go 3 and out, could not get the offense going, and Colorado Mesa takes advantage of that in the fourth quarter. They dive in from 15 yards out. David Tan again, his 5th touchdown run of the game, and that would push the lead to the eventual final 35-22. Again, Dixie State playing a tough game against Colorado Mesa. Had multiple opportunities, trailing 28-22, forced a Colorado Mesa fumble. Had a goal line stand, got the ball back, but the offense just struggled to get things going in that second half, and eventually fall 35-22. The Trailblazers on the road this week in Golden, Colorado at Colorado School of Mines. To the soccer pitch now as the women's soccer team wrapped up its Bay Area trip over the weekend. Trailblazers opened the trip with wins over Notre Dame, Namur, and Dominican, and then later looked to keep it rolling versus Academy of Art on Thursday, and did they ever. Darian Murdoch scored in the 26th minute. The Trailblazers never looked back against Academy of Art, adding 4 more goals to secure a 5-0 victory. Murdoch scored 2 more goals for her 3rd hat trick of the season, which I should note is a Dixie State women's soccer record. So you see there on the screen, opening the trip with the wins over Notre Dame, Namur, then the 2-1 victory over Dominican, leading into that 5-0 shutout of Academy of Art. After the win over the Urban Knights, the Trailblazers were scheduled to close the trip at Holy Names on Saturday, but poor air quality due to the fires raging in California forced the game to be postponed. Now, for her efforts on the trip, Darian Murdoch was named PacWest Player of the Week for the 3rd time this season, scoring 5 goals and adding 1 assist on the week. So props to her for another great week. You could say it's a hat trick of Player of the Week awards for Darian Murdoch. We stay on the soccer pitch now as the men's team also wrapped up its Bay Area trip last week with a Thursday afternoon match versus Academy of Art. The Urban Knights struck first in the 58th minute to take a 1-0 lead, but Dixie State responded with a John Deere Porta goal in the 80th minute, and Moises Medina game winner in the 85th minute to secure a 2-1 come-from-behind victory. And like the women's team, the men's game at Holy Names was also postponed due to those fires raging in California. Trailblazers are now 9-2 overall, 5-2 in Pac-West play. To the volleyball court now, as the volleyball Trailblazers were also in the Bay Area last week for a 4-match road swing. It all started on Wednesday at Notre Dame de Namur. The Argonauts took the first 2 sets before DSU bounced back with a 25-20 win in set 3. But the Argonauts closed the match in the 4th set to seal a 3-1 victory. Trailblazers bounced back on Friday and cruised to a 3-0 sweep of Holy Names in Oakland. In all, DSU outscored the Hawks by a combined score of 75-38 in the match. Again, see there on your screen the 3-0 sweep of Holy Names. DSU then looked to take the momentum of Friday's win to a Saturday evening matchup at Dominican. DSU even jumped out to a 1-0 lead after a 25-20 victory in the first set, but the Penguins responded with wins in set 2 and 3 before the Trailblazers forced a decisive 5th set with a 25-16 triumph in set 4. The final set went back and forth. However, Dominican eventually clinched the 3-2 win with a 16-14 win in the decisive 5th set. Dixie State then closed its 4-match trip on Monday, rolling to a 25-12, 25-14, 25-20 sweep of Academy of Art. Again, taking that game in straight sets for the 3-0 victory over Academy of Art. DSU is now 8-10 overall and 6-4 in Pac-West play. Now a quick women's golf update. The Trailblazers had originally been scheduled to play at the Sonoma State Fall Invitational in Santa Rosa, California yesterday on Monday and then finishing up today on Tuesday. But due to, those wildfires raging throughout that portion of the state, the event has been canceled. Our thoughts and prayers obviously with all of those people that have been affected, with all those firefighters in the California area where those wildfires are raging and wreaking havoc. It's forced a lot of games to either been postponed or canceled, but obviously those sporting events take a back seat to what is truly important with those fires raging in that area. So our thoughts and prayers are with all of those people affected and the firefighters in that area. We appreciate all of their hard work. Dixie State women's golf team will wrap up its fall schedule in 2 weeks at the Cal State San Marcos Fall Invitational in San Marcos, California. It's time now for a quick break. We'll wrap up the show with a look ahead at this week's schedule right after this timeout.
I take the road less traveled, run free, unwind, unravel someplace outside with lots to do. Green trees, red rocks, and don't forget that blue sky. The sunshine shining, sunshine pouring on me. Think I might just stay a while. Say hooray all day because the sun is gonna shine on me. Sun is gonna shine on me. Sun's gonna shine on me.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
Your daughter is having trouble learning French. Do you A, hire a tutor?
Bonjour.
B, enforce a French-only rule at home? Or C, watch some foreign films? When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Welcome back inside the CEC TV studios in this week's edition of Trailblazer Weekly. Before we wrap this thing up, let's take a quick look at this week's schedule. Follow along on your screen. It all starts on Thursday. Men's and women's soccer back at home after that long 4-match road trip. They will host the Vulcans of Hawaii Hilo. Women's match first at 4:30. Men's match to follow at 7 p.m. Nothing on Friday, and then into a busy Saturday. Obviously, men's and women's cross country starting that thing off with the Pac-West Conference Championships in Belmont, California. The women's race will start at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, followed by the men's race at 11 a.m. Mountain Time. We'll have those results for you on DixieStateAthletics.com. Football traveling to Golden, Colorado, making their first trip to Marv K Stadium to take on Colorado Mines. That game will kick at noon Mountain Time. We'll have the game for you on ESPN Radio, 97.7 FM. Volleyball and soccer will both host Point Loma. The volleyball match starting first. It will start at noon, and then women's soccer at 4:30 and men's soccer at 7 p.m. at Legend Solar Stadium. Into next week, nothing on Sunday, and on Monday, the men's golf team, kind of an interesting scenario. Men's golf team helping host a tournament in Hawaii. That's why you see the Dixie State Island invite there. That will be Monday and Tuesday. That's your look ahead for this next week. Remember, you can find all of those results on DixieStateAthletics.com. Not just results and recaps, but box scores and stats and feature stories. We encourage you to take a look at DixieStateAthletics.com for schedules. Really anything at Trailblazer Athletics, it's all there. Even links to our YouTube page and these Trailblazer Weekly shows. That'll do it for today's show. We remind you that you can catch all episodes of Trailblazer Weekly on demand at the Dixie State Athletics YouTube page, which is youtube.com/Dixie State Athletics. Thank you again for watching. We'll see you next week on Trailblazer Weekly.